Okay, so we're dealing with XYZ, still dealing with XYZ, and we're now calculating these three. The total material cost variance, material price variance, and material usage variance. Okay, so the total cost material variance, did we spend more in terms of material costs or did we spend less? Okay, so as I said earlier on, whenever it's variances that are dealing with costs, you always want the actual to be less than the standard or the budgeted. Okay, because when the actual is less than the budgeted, it means you spent less. Okay, but if the actual is greater than the budgeted, it means you spent more. Then for the sales variances, it's the opposite. The actual has to be greater than the budgeted. So that if the actual is greater than the budgeted, you sold more. Okay. Yes. So the total material cost variance, right? Okay. The standard total cost minus the actual total cost. All right. The reason why I flipped here is because with these cost variances, as I said, the actual has to be less than the standard. It means that is better. So anytime you get a negative value here, it means you did bad. And if you get a positive value, you did good. Okay. If we flipped the formula like this, actual minus standard, then it means negative is good, positive is bad. Okay. Then if you put the formula like this, where standard minus actual, the negative is bad and positive is good. Okay. So if you notice for the earlier variances, I was using actual minus standards because there, when actual is greater than standard, it's good. If it's less than standard, it's bad. Now, since we're dealing with costs, where if actual is greater than standard, it's bad. And if actual is less than standard, that is good. That's why I've put the formula like this. So you can easily interpret. Okay, colleagues? You can put the formula either way you want, but you just have to, the key is you have to know how to interpret at the end. Okay? Yes. Okay, so first we have to find what was our standard cost for materials. What did we expect? Okay, to pay for materials according to our standard cost card. Okay. Now remember, we actually produced 6,000 units. According to our standard cost card, each unit uses 5 kg. Okay. Each unit uses 5 kg. Okay. So for these 6,000 units that we produced, okay, we're supposed to use a total of 6,000 times 5, 30,000 kg, according to our standard cost card. Okay. According to our standard cost card, for the 6,000 units we produced, where each unit uses 5 kg, we're supposed to use a total of 30,000 kg of direct materials. Okay. Then we were told the standard price was 4 kwacha per kg. So the cost was supposed to incur for this 30,000 kg that we used. 30,000 times 4 is 120,000 kwacha. Okay. That is according to our standard cost card. Let me even bring the standard cost card so that we see clearly what I'm talking about here. Okay, we're just focusing on direct materials here. Okay, yes. Remember the total standard quantity for each unit is 5 kg. And the standard rate for the direct materials is 4 kwacha per kg. So from the 6,000 units that we produced, each unit uses 5 kg. Okay, so 6 times 5, 30,000 kg. We're supposed to use 30,000 kg. The standard rate is 4 kwacha per kg. So 30,000 times 420,000. Okay. Yes. So that is the, according to our cost card, this is how much we needed to pay for direct materials. Okay. But in our information, the actual information, they told us that the materials costed, what is this? Yes, actual direct material cost 136,400. This was how much we paid for direct materials. According to our budget, we were supposed to pay 120,000. But in actuality, we paid 163,000. Okay, so we can see our actual is greater than the standard, meaning we spent more. Okay, meaning we spent more. So our, yes, try to log out and try to log in and log out. Try to log out, log in. Okay. Oh, I forgot to even do. So total material cost variance, it shows whether the total material cost was higher or lower than expected. Okay. So yes. So our material cost variance, standard minus actual. Then 120 minus 136,400, you get negative 16,400. So, oh, this is, yes, adverse. Meaning the company spent 16,400 kwacha more on materials than expected. Okay. We spent more on materials than expected or budgeted. Okay. Now, if you use the formula actual cost minus standard cost, you get a positive value. Okay. If you use the other way around, you say, oh, okay, actual cost minus standard cost, one 400 minus 120,000, you're going to get a positive value. Now, you have to be able to know that this positive value is bad because of the way I've put the formula like this. You have to know that this is still bad. Okay. So, what I would advise for the cost variances, colleagues, always put standard minus actual so that you can easily see that a negative is bad and a positive is good. Okay, it will make your life easier and you won't be getting confused. You won't make the wrong interpretation. But the more comfortable you get with this topic, you can switch the formula. You're allowed to switch the formula because you will know how to interpret. Okay. Yes. Material price variance. It shows whether materials it shows whether materials were bought cheaper or expensive than expected. Okay, this is the formula for material price variance. Okay, the actual quantity of materials that were used multiplied by the standard price minus the actual price. Okay, per unit basically, or per kg. If the actual price was greater than the standard price, then we've just know we've done bad. Okay, if actual price greater than standard, okay, it's bad. It means materials are more expensive. Okay, okay. Then if the standard price of materials is greater than the actual price of materials, then the materials were cheap, we did good. Okay, yes. So we already have the standard price for the materials. It's 4 kwacha per kg in our standard cost card here. Okay, material price variance. Okay. Oh, and this is how you can also remember this on the standard cost card. Okay, this information will relate to the price variance. This information here, the standard quantity, will relate to the usage variance for materials. And this total cost, standard cost, it's the total cost variance. Okay. These 6,000 units that we produced, the total material cost 20 kwacha. I should have said even this earlier on. We would have just done 6,000 times 20 kwacha and you still get 120,000 kwacha. So if you have a standard cost card, just if you can remember it like this, so that you know where you're getting your information for each variance, then this will also help. Okay. So we need to find out what is the actual price for each kg. Okay. Remember, the total materials cost was 136,400. Okay. Let me show you where these figures are coming from, so you're not thinking they're coming from nowhere. Okay. Have you seen the actual material cost was 136,400. All right. The direct material we used was 31,000 kg. So I want to find out how much did you pay for each kg. Okay, colleagues? We used 31,000 kg and we paid 136,400. So you want to find out how much did you pay per kg. Okay. So 136,400 divided by 31,000. We paid 4 kwacha 14 ngwe per kg. Okay. According to our standard cost card, we're supposed to pay 4 kwacha for each kg. But in actuality, we paid 4 kwacha 14 ngwe. So it means the materials were expensive. So we expect this variance to be adverse because we paid more for the materials per kg. The actual quantity 31 for this 31,000 kg. Yeah, so you're going to say 31,000 multiplied by 4 minus 4 kwacha 14 ngwe. Okay, so 31,000 multiplied by negative 0.4 because 4 minus 4 kwacha 14 ngwe you get negative 0.4. So 31,000 times negative 14 ngwe, you get negative 12,400 adverse, meaning we paid more per kg for the materials. Okay, the company paid 14 ngwe more per kg, which is bad. Okay. Yes. Then we come to material usage variance. It shows efficiency in using materials. Did we use more or less of the materials to produce our goods? Okay, yes. So for this variance, it is the standard price multiplied by the standard quantity minus the actual quantity. Okay. If you used more materials than budgeted, it's bad. You're not being efficient. Okay, let me put this down. If actual is greater than standard or budgeted, it's bad because you use more materials. Use more material than budgeted. Okay, so it means you are not being efficient. Okay, remember, efficiency is all about using resources, not wasting resources. Yeah, efficiency, that means you don't waste resources. So if you have a budget and you say, okay, they want this amount to be used for production. Let's say you want 10,000 to be used for your production, 10,000 kg of materials. In actuality, you use 15,000. It means you use more materials and you are being inefficient. Okay. But if you budgeted to use 10,000 kg and let's say you used 9,000 kg, then you're being efficient. So our standard quantity for materials versus our actual quantity. So the standard quantity for materials, where was that? Where was that information there? How many units produced multiplied by our budgeted usage, basically. Okay, here's our cost card here. Okay. For each unit, we're supposed to use 5 kg. Okay. Each unit was supposed to use 5 kg. And there we produced 6,000 units. Okay. So 6,000 units times 5 kg was supposed to use 30,000 kg of materials. Okay. So here, standard quantity. Yeah, standard quantity 30,000 kg. Okay. So let me come here. Standard quantity, supposed to use 30,000 kg of materials. But in actuality, we used 31,000 kg. Okay, this is in the actual information there. Okay, in the actual information here, actual material used here, direct material used 31,000 kg. So we used more material than we budgeted for, meaning we were not being efficient. Okay, we were not being efficient. This is like, yeah, no, what is this? Ish, there's a lot of information here. So scrolling, I even get lost where I'm at. Yes. So here, 30,000 kg. This is what was supposed to be used. For those 6,000 units we produced, each unit needs 5 kg. So according to our standard card, we're supposed to use 30,000 kg. But in actuality, use 31,000 kg. So 30 minus 31,000, we used 1,000 more kg of materials. Okay, we use 1,000 more the materials multiplied by the standard price, which is 4 kwacha per kg. Okay, the reason why we're not multiplying it by the actual price is for these efficiency variances. You want to see if you are used more or less of whatever activity. So you do not want the price to distort your to give you fake readings. That's why you just say, the price, we're going to keep it as a standard so that we can actually see if we used more or less. Okay, so that's why we're using the standard price. So 30,000 minus 31,000, negative 1,000. Negative 1,000 times 4 kwacha, negative 4,000 kwacha appears. Okay, we are not being efficient. Okay, so the company should have used 30,000 kg, but it used 31,000 kg. Okay, so it used 1,000 kg extra. So the variance is adverse. We used more than what we budgeted for. Okay, so the variance is adverse.